Hi everyone, thanks for joining. Thanks for being here. Hi Warren, welcome. As you can see, I'm still in bed. And if you've been here a while, you know that me waking up often requires a breakfast decision. So, because I haven't made my breakfast decision, I've kind of felt like, what's the point? Um, there are many things to do, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, my motivation for getting up is food. I don't know if any of you can relate with that, but that's how I feel. And usually, when I make a decision about what I'm going to eat, that's my trigger to get up. So, I also did have a little bit of, wake up in the middle of the night situation around 2 a.m. and only got sleeping at 5 a.m. Warren, yes, I'm also in bed deciding what to have for breakfast. My girlfriend's lazy to make me breakfast. What are your options, Warren? Okay, on my side, my options are either oats with peanut butter and banana, or um, or I go to KFC to try that hash burger with coffee. The hash burger, it looks like it has a hash brown, a tomato, some lettuce, and something else. So those are my two options: indoors or outdoors. Let me know your preference in the chat. I also got to shave my head this morning, as you can see. Um, I, I've got to shave my head, so I'll be doing that right now when I wake up. Chops, chutney, future life, Romans pizza, and soji. If it was me, I wouldn't do future life. Not on a Sunday. That's boring. I wouldn't do soji. It's quite sweet for a Sunday breakfast. If it was me, I would be doing Roman's pizza. Yeah. Um, TikTok just told me to wipe my camera lens. What's happening? Is that okay? Hi, Judika. Is it cold there? It's not cold there. Warren, future life tastes like chemicals. Do you notice that or you don't notice that? Because to me, it tastes like chemicals. And it is chemicals when you look at the ingredients on future life. Okay. As you see, I sleep with the rose quartz. And I find that it's helpful for my whatever healing that needs to be going on in my body while my awareness is out of the body. Do the healing. Okay, stretching first. Do you also do stretches when you wake up? Warren, how often do you shave your head? I shave mine twice a week on a Tuesday and a Friday. I shave my head every 3 to 4 days. Sometimes I don't mind looking like an old man because I don't care and I want to be authentic and I want to be myself. And sometimes I just don't. Sometimes the pressure to shave my head is how does it look to others? It's not like, is it refreshing for me or anything like that? When the reasoning is about other people, I don't do it. So I might hold off on that day, like yesterday. Yesterday's reasoning was I already showered and I actually don't feel like I want to shave my head, so I'm not going to do it. Okay, stretching on the other side. Where's the roti roll? I ate the roti roll last night. Okay. Okay. That's your stretching. Grand Rising, JD. So if you want to let me know in the chat your opinion about what I should have for breakfast, feel free to go ahead. As you can see, I also decided to sleep with socks. It's not always required, but I have sleeping socks and then I have walking socks. So I take off the sleeping socks. Besides oats, what are the other options? Happy Sunday to you, Stardust. The other option was the hash burger at KFC. Toasted cheese sandwich. I had a toasted cheese sandwich yesterday. If you joined me for breakfast yesterday, my breakfast was toasted cheese sandwich. As you know, I had a traumatic experience with oats, which is why I haven't been cooking oats for such a long time. So if I am to cook oats today, it'll be breaking that cycle of how I felt when I was eating oats. I felt depressed. So when I looked at the oats, that's the feeling I'm getting. So I'm gonna put these socks. Please try the hash burger and review. I want to try the hash burger. I really do. It's looking boring, but it's an excuse for a productive time. Especially because where can I get a vegetarian sausage roll in the CBD? Because the only vegetarian sausage roll that I ever saw was at Woolworths in not Cavendish, but there's another complex in Claremont that has a Woolworths, which, by the way, I did see it in Cavendish also. And that was somewhere around July of last year when I was still living in Claremont. Remember, I was living in my dream apartment last year until August, which is so close away. Just last year, up until August, I was living in my dream apartment in Claremont. And I did see those sausage rolls. I never saw them again. Julie, what happened? I think it was just circumstances around my life during that week or two where I was facing a bit of depression. And then I just so happened to be eating oats for breakfast at the time. Now when I think of that dark time in my life, I'm thinking of the oats as well. I'm not just thinking of the time, I'm thinking of the oats. Oh, I didn't make my bed. Which do you prefer, Prenutro or banana flavor or Future Life? Prenutro is the one that doesn't have wheat, right? Is Prenutro the one that doesn't have wheat? How is this? Welcome to a day in my life. I start off my morning by getting up and doing my daily stretches. I also have been starting off recent mornings by going on TikTok Live and talking to my audience. Next thing I'm going to do is put on my floor socks, which I did that right now, and make my bed. So the first blanket I usually fold is the gray one, which is also the one I use for meditation. Okay, the next blanket I'm going to fold is the iconic trusted one. Here it is. And finally, there's the pillow, which is too uncomfortable for me to use, but I use it sometimes. Sometimes I get so annoyed with it that I pull it out from behind my head and I, put it aside. You get wheat-free. Hi, Clem. If I were eating Prenutro, I'd be eating the wheat-free Prenutro. Chocolate flavor has always been... Okay. When I was introduced to Prenutro, it's because somebody in the family that I grew up in didn't want it. They bought it for somebody and that person didn't want it, so, they decided to bring it to me. Somebody doesn't like the taste, of course Sean must eat it. And I did. I did eat it. I did not like it because the flavor that was given to me, of course the other person didn't like it. It was like wheat flavor or something like that. Do they still have wheat flavor? By the way, I also take my jacket. Am I gonna wear this if I go to KFC? Yeah, I will wear this. Okay, so and the laptop. So these are all the things I'm taking. As you see, I got my charger in my hand, other charger in my pocket. Here's the laptop, the jacket's in my hand, and I'm gonna put on these shoes, which up until recently I thought I was never gonna use. But I think they feel nice. Are you a vegetarian? Yes. What are you getting from KFC today? If I go to KFC, I'll get the hash burger, which has the hash brown in it. And I haven't tried that before, so I'm interested to try that. And then, okay, I just put all my items down on the counter. I love having a counter. It feels so American. Why does it feel American? I don't know, but it just does. And my mics are charged, so that's good. Whatever content I choose to make, I have good sound. Okay, so as usual, I've got a... fill some water in here, and I'm going to use that to brush my teeth, wash my face, and shave my head. How long have you been a vegetarian for? 4 years. Why would someone not eat meat? Because the meat looks like flesh, that's why. I mean, it is flesh. I didn't cook okra yesterday. I instead ate the roti roll. Vanakkam, Sholin. Also going to charge, I'm not sure if it's charged, so I'm going to charge that. Okay, it is charged. Last night and kind of this morning, I was watching this movie called The Wailing, and the signal was a bit strange, so I didn't end up finishing that movie. How was the roti last night? Very delicious, but soggy because I got a roti roll instead of curry and roti. You look at life different things, so yeah. Hi Michaela, are you taking us an excursion today? Maybe on live while I walk to KFC, not good for my data plan. I think I should keep you outside for a second. Let's keep you outside for a second. Okay, why you left us outside? I don't know. It felt too intimate for you to be in the bathroom with me. Let's put this up here. And does your apartment have a rooftop? It does, yes. What was I doing? Oh, I've got to throw the used toilet roll, so let me do that. Give me a second. Put a cap on underneath. I'm gonna shave my head, so. How about cheese toast? I had cheese toast yesterday. If I had a cast iron, I would be able to make cheese toast here, but making cheese toast on a stainless steel pot, it sticks to the pan, not the pan, it sticks to the base of the pot. So when I'm trying to scrape out the cheese toast, it turns into this like bread mingle mash, and then it looks weird. Sholan, have you reviewed my mod application? Both DVD and you have been speaking about moderation, but I'm kind of okay with what how's that? I'm kind of okay with what level of moderation is needed right now. So the first thing I usually do, which some of y'all are regulars here, wash my hands. This is also the view that the angels have of my life. Angels, spirit guides, higher beings, thanks so much for your service, for your continued funneling of love and light into my life, into my being, and into my expression. I bathe in the glory of the light and the love, and I channel it towards those things that matter to me and growth and service of my spiritual awareness and spiritual development journey. I give thanks. Amen. Keep moving the bread on the steel pot, won't stick. I tried that, it stuck. I did try that. I tried it without fat, thinking that, maybe if the bread just makes contact with the surface, then it's better. I tried it with fat, which didn't help at all. The only option I have right now is to hover the bread sandwich over the plate. That's a lot of admin, but when I lived in Delft, I did that. When I lived in Delft, I used to buy this bread called Blue Ribbon, and I used to buy the Parmalat processed cheese, which by the way is in every tuck shop now. Don't they have real cheese anymore? And I used to sandwich it and then hover the bread over the plate by putting it either balanced on two pot handles or me balancing it with a fork. Jesus, take the wheel, take it from my hands. In Hinduism, we learn that the infinite God consciousness manifests throughout any human body that is purified and ready for its arrival, and so that's what I follow. And so the goal there in life is to prepare your body for the arrival of your true self, your higher nature. Thanks, Bam Bam. Thanks for lighting up the donut. So you see that it's been called a prophet, it's been called a sage, it's been called a guru, it's been called a yogi, it's been called a saint, it's been called this and that and that. But what you're seeing is that humans throughout time, regardless of their country, culture, language, or religion, have done the level of purification, the level of pilgrimage, inner pilgrimage, cleansing of the temple, and so on. And that higher being has entered their bodies. It has done so. So when people say like, Jesus saves, I'm like, please don't come here with that, because that's not the ideology on this page. That's not the ideology in my life. I'm not looking to be converted. I don't believe that you can convert, because, there's one God. And so I choose to follow my belief, which is that when you purify your body sufficiently throughout life, when you keep your mind on the higher entity, which is essentially, it's wearing you as a body. The life that's in me is the same life that's in you. So the God that I'm looking for, I need to be looking inside. And when I do find it, I'll realize that there was no Sean. Sean was this God wearing temporary identity for a couple decades. But in the true vast span of things, it adopts all the identities. It is all the beings. It inhabits all of the bodies. And really, my goal here is to not just have that as intellectual knowledge, but to have that as true experiential understanding. There's no mocking of Jesus, just like how the Islamic faith considers Jesus to be a prophet, while the Christian faith considers Jesus to be a God. It's already existent in our society that certain beings are looked at differently. So, similarly, in Hindu ideology, you see that the human body has the capability to take on the form of the thing that it contemplates. If it does contemplate any higher entity, whether that be an archangel, whether that be a Kali, or whether that be a father, it will eventually take on that form with sufficient contemplation. So if you feel like you're trying to push your Christian ideology in my chat, fuck off. I'm telling you clearly, fuck off out of my life. Don't come here with your hidden agendas. Don't come here trying to push your beliefs. I already am solid with where I am in my spiritual journey, and I don't need your conversion. Let me tell you clearly. Okay? The ones that are pushing Jesus forgot that the Romans, together with the Jewish priests of the time, actually murdered him by nailing him onto a cross. They forgot that. They say he died for our sins. They make it look like a willing act of sacrifice, of self-sacrifice, but they completely brush over that when they had God in the human form, they killed it. They didn't just kill it, they mocked it and they stoned it. They first mocked Jesus, they stoned Jesus, and then they nailed him to a cross, watched him bleed to death. That's what you do when you have God in a human form, please. Please don't come here with proselytes, trying to convert people when you clearly don't understand your history. You don't understand the history of the God that you're following. You don't understand the dynamics of Christianity. You don't understand what the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit really mean. But you're pushing your agenda in my chat. I don't appreciate that. Fuck off, clearly. I value Christianity from people that understand, not from the ignorant masses. The ignorant masses, Anyways, on another note, once you stop that shit, we can move on. I'm letting go. me one more chance. What's your plan of action today? Brush my teeth, wash my face, shave my head, and then decide on what I'm going to have for breakfast. Hope you're not offended by spit because, part of me brushing my teeth is you're definitely going to see that. It's so funny, Smooth Operator, that sometimes the people try to degrade the quality of the production by suggesting that the viewership is here for the mundane action. No, bitch, the viewership is here for me. They want to see Sean brushing his teeth. They don't just want to see anybody brushing their teeth. So stop with that shit. Just like that cunt that said, why would somebody want to watch somebody eat a roti roll? Are they so bored with their knife? No, bitch. They're here for Sean. They want to see what Sean is eating. If it was you eating a roti roll, nobody's picking. Okay, now it's time to mix the water. So, I'm letting go. Give me one more chance. 'Cause I can't do this on my own. Oh, Jesus, take the wheel. Take it from my hands. 'Cause I can't do this on my own. I'm letting go. By the way, to the audience that continues to visit me day after day, I appreciate that you're choosing to spend your time with me. But just know, if you start pushing certain things in the chat, I'll block you and I'll move on with my life. Which part of Durban are you from? I'm not from Durban. Sometimes you tell people you're from Greytown, hi Desiree, and they're like, Durban? I said Greytown, I didn't say Durban. Cause I can't do this on my own. I'm letting go. Give me one more chance. I just use the, light touch of the fingertips. And I also get around the eye area. If you're looking for somebody to convert, it's not me, so exit. Thanks, Bam Bam. You're coming through with the gifts this morning. I appreciate that. By the way, I learned recently that TikTok Live has a fan club. So if you send me a heart me, you become part of my fan club. And that does something. So send me a heart me if you want to be a part of my fan club. If you want to be active, an active member of my fan club. Hi, Vetika. Oh, sorry about that, Mr. Teeth. Okay, you're gonna see me blowing my nose naturally. Okay, now step 2. Caramel, it's probably because of the teeth, right? Something about teeth. Okay, part 2 is for me to shave my head. So, I like to use 2 mirrors. There's one mirror here, and I'll show you the next mirror. Take it from my hands, 'cause I can't do this on my own. I'm letting go. I just want to tell you that Accutane doesn't mean you don't wash your face. What are you talking about? When did people on Accutane stop washing their face? By the way, I was on Accutane from like 2012 and 2013. It's clear though. Okay. One of my pet peeves is when the water runs down my arm. Cause I can't do this on my own. I'm letting go. Okay. Shaving foam. Welcome to Sean's salon on this beautiful Sunday rising. We're doing a head shaving, and like on some of those Temu ads, you see that 5 razor head shaver where that man holds the person in the ad holds the razor like this, and they're doing this type of motion. The type of discomfort you're gonna feel after, I feel sad for you. It's gonna be like torture. One should never shave their head against the grain. 'Cause I can't do this on my own. I'm letting go. Give me one more chance. when I discovered I was beautiful. When I discovered that my true identity was this. Thanks, David. You still love me even though you try to push Christian ideologies onto me? And I said no. That's a type of love that's unconditional. Thanks, and remember, if you want to be an active fan in my fan club, send me a heart me. TikTok says it does something. I'm glad. Don't push. Don't push. If you wanna, I think Christianity has done so much good, but it has also done so much evil. Google Inquisition and you see how many millions of people were murdered in the name of the Lord. So sometimes people come with good intentions, but you must also see the dark side of the same type of attitude. Many African people's ancestors were threatened to be murdered unless they converted to Christianity. So you must see the balance there. Google Inquisition, murder in the name of Christianity. It was a whole 100 or 200 or 300 year thing where certain people were going around the world finding any indigenous person. Remember, they had their own beliefs and they were like, Jesus is the Lord, and if you don't admit that, we're gonna kill you. And they actually did murder millions and millions of people in the name of Christianity. They were like, we are God's chosen people and we are here to make you see the light. I think whenever murder is involved, you can see something is wrong there. Something is definitely wrong there. What am I having for breakfast? I'm thinking about whether I want to. Killing is not natural. The first commandment is thou shalt not kill. Didn't Cain break that one? The son of the first, seemingly the first, I think the science shows more so that humanity didn't have one pair of people creating all of it, that there were multiple individual independent creations happening at the same time. People are looking for all the races to be one race in the beginning. Maybe it was 7 colors. Maybe it was 7 colors from the beginning. I'm not mocking anybody, and if you feel like stating a balanced perspective is mocking, please go learn some critical thinking back at university. He's mocking them. No, bitch. Mocking them. You know who was mocked? Jesus, after he was arrested for teaching falsehoods to the people. But the priests at the time had a hidden agenda. And that hidden agenda was that nobody should be claiming to be powerful here. You shaving single or double coats? What's double coats? Believing in science is like believing in religion. That's iconic. I love that. There's just a part here that I need to shave. Did you notice many of the prophets were murdered? Did you notice many of the saints were murdered as well? Some of them were skinned alive, boiled in oil. It was not well received in the beginning, that's what I'm telling you. You think it's pure and perfect Teletubbies and rainbows, butterflies and sunshine. It wasn't like that. So when you try to do the same thing now, when you try to make others believe like their choice of not choosing that is out of ignorance, no, sometimes there are better ways. Just like there were better ways before Christianity, some of those better ways are still existing now. Like Hinduism delivered so many prophets, so many saints, and so many avatars. You brought another recipe and you expect everybody to flood to that recipe when the original recipe was already working. Am I done? This part in the groove, is very challenging to shave. Go read up on your history. Not reading fans in the chat, that's okay. You were brought education so that you can read. In summary, God is really the infinite spirit that permeates all entities. There is one spirit dwelling in all the bodies. And when it enters that body, it takes on the appearance of persona, personality, likes, dislikes, and so on. So my journey in this life is to recognize that Sean is a temporary manifestation, and that the true being that dwells in this body is the God that's been spoken about through all time. Not just in this body, but in every body. Not just in human bodies, but in animal bodies, insect bodies, plant bodies, and so on. It is the one spirit that dwells in all beings. And that has been mentioned over and over and over. For me, my journey in life is to recognize that that is my true, highest, greatest, infinite self. And that process of recognizing that is called self-realization. Self-realization. There is one self. There is not multiple selves, there's one self. If you feel uncomfortable by hearing that and you don't want to hear any more of that, bye. Take care and I wish you well. But if you're here, this is something that I talk about over and over and over. This is a bit more knowledgeable than what I knew when I was in ignorance way back, believing that there's 50 different gods across 5 religions. You come to the point with your inner journey when you realize that they're all saying the same thing. Some of them are more distorted than others, definitely. And you see the level of distortion based on how people are acting. If people are being judgmental, if people are being criticizing, if people feel like they're superior, you can tell that they're not in alignment with the religious values. So, if you like, my job is not to convince anyone. It's not to propose to you a new ideology. It's not to try to make you see things my way. I actually don't give a fuck what ideology you follow. But on my page, on my platform, I share about my life, my way, and my thinking. So Hannah, if you're not happy with that, fuck off. Okay, so in summary, when I read that Bhagavad Gita and Krishna talks about the aspects of God, I can swap out that name for Allah. And I can see that that God has spoken throughout multiple different bodies throughout time, and each being that it spoke through chose to write something. Now you have a bunch of different books. I can call that God Buddha, the great being beyond physical reality. I can call it any name, but to me, when it chooses to express itself through a physical body, it is doing so because that being prepared its body for its arrival, and we already know that the body is a temple. So, Allah means the God. It does mean the God. There's a meaning behind all Arabic words. It's always interesting to me when you see a translation, and for instance, they'll translate everything except Lakshmi. Why did you leave Lakshmi untranslated? It also has a translation, it means prosperity. Now people are looking for a shape, but they miss the meaning. So when you get it, then you get it. But when you're in spiritual ignorance, when you don't realize that a lot of religious beliefs have been influenced by political ideology and by people who intended to keep people mentally enslaved, to not know their true nature. The true nature is that God is inhabiting your body, and it appears as a spirit, it appears as life. So spend your life looking internally and hoping that it will give you a glimpse that it was it the entire time. Most people will not get that. They will die in ignorance. They will die without knowing that their spirit is the spirit of God. They will die believing that it's over and they're going to heaven, and then they find themselves in another body again. So snap out of it. Those that are awakened, those that are aware. This is not a message for everybody. Let me get that clear. You think that I'm talking to you. If you're on this level, you get it. If you're not, you don't get it. And that's okay. I'm letting go. Give me one more chance, 'cause I can't do it all. Okay, done. Any ideas? Oh God! Please don't misunderstand what I'm saying and post trash in the chat. It's always, remember, this is how I see it. Just like how when Jesus mentioned to the people of the time, you are gods in a diminished state, and your journey here is to recognize that I and the Father are one. Just like how they mocked him, criticized him, persecuted him, murdered him, when I see the level of antagonism of some of these people in the chat, it's showing you that your level of consciousness is just like the unawakened masses of the time, who, when they saw the truth, they didn't like it. They didn't like it. So when you are like angrily pushing, angrily debating, not just debating me, angrily arguing away what I know to keep what you know stagnant, you're showing me that that's where you are. And you're also showing me that you're in the wrong place. You're showing me that you're in the wrong place, and this is not the place to be. I'm letting go. This one, Suhana Rampersad, married and mom. You're talking to me like that in the chat, please get out. I've done a lot of meditation and introspection over the past 6 years, and that was for me to make sense of why are there 50 religions and 20,000 sects. And even in Christianity, this church says there's a Trinity, this church says there's no Trinity, this church says that Jesus was born a human, this church says that Jesus was already divine at his birth. When you see so many fragmented sects, it tells you that they have not made up their minds about what is true. And so each man that decides, okay, now I've decided that this is true, goes to make a new church. It makes you believe that there are 50 truths. There cannot be 50 truths. So if you are in alignment that consciousness is the only reality that exists, and that consciousness manifests as life, spirit, being, and so on, and that there's really only one entity here permeating all of the bodies, expressing itself as the different beings, you're in the right place. If you're not in alignment with that, please be on your way. Be on your way. I'm letting go. Give me one more chance. So if you're already on alignment, if you're already aligning with that, let me tell you what to do. The only thing to do is to meditate, because one of the things that's mentioned there is that the word, we're always talking about the word of God. One of the things that's mentioned is like the word in a book is not living, but you as an entity, you are the word made flesh. You are literally the word of God. It's you, it's your being, it's your body, it's your life. So you can study the book, or you can study yourself, which is still connected to the great infinite entity. And the way to study yourself is to observe your behaviors, to observe your mind, your thoughts, and so on. But one of the biggest, best ways is to close your eyes and to observe your being. And just by observing your being, it's meditating on the self. You will unpack all of the higher knowledge just from you. Just from you. And you will unfold into greater and greater levels of infinite potential, right? Because your true self is infinite. It's beyond a body. So you need a body to be doing all of this. And that's why it's considered, human living is considered such a special experience. Because not only do you have access to all of these senses, sensory experiences, taste, whatever, but you also have access to a vessel and a temple. Now, animal bodies can't do that. Animal bodies are sometimes walking on all fours, they're unawakened, they're not aware that they're in a dream. But we know that physical reality is one stage of evolution. We've been told many times before that there's a spiritual reality that's greater than physical reality, and we cannot see that spiritual reality with your eyes. That's why you have to close your eyes, you have to diminish your senses. So do that. Do that. Stop believing that belief was the end. It wasn't the end. Embodiment is the end. You must embody it. And in some ways, that's an elimination of your personal identity, because your name was given to you, so was who you are, what you're doing here, what you like. All of these things were given to you by the time you're living in, the society you're living in, the culture you're living in. A lot of what you're currently embodying was gifted to you by people around you. But the true pure being that was born before it was given a name, before it was told who it was, before it was told what it was, and so on, that still rests somewhere in you. If you take a lot of your life and you choose to eliminate thoughts about you, and you choose to wonder what really is the true me, from what I've seen throughout all of these individuals that go throughout that journey, you end up finding that you're the infinite consciousness that's temporarily manifesting as a flesh being. So if you care about freeing yourself from physical reality, because remember, consciousness, as everything in physical reality, is cyclical in nature. If you care about not coming back to do life all over again, remember, your memory will probably be reset the way it always is. Then your journey in life is to self-realize, is to meditate for decades on end and to recognize that it was actually a great infinite being that temporarily adopted a limited flesh expression, and that was you. Okay, that's all I have to share for today. So if you like what I'm saying, follow for more. If you didn't like what I'm saying, then I wish you well. Take care. Okay, now I just gotta rinse this a little bit. Okay. That was my Sunday sermon. Welcome to the Church of the Free Spirit, where we try to make sense of why isn't this thing working anymore? It's not working because the teachings were distorted in their multiple translations, and many deep spiritual truths were intentionally hidden to keep the masses in ignorance. Do not be yet another one of the ignorant masses. Give me one more chance, as I can do this. When I pray, I envision God as like streaming into my head. That's what I do. If I think of a puppet, I think of this as the puppet costume and the hand inside the puppet as God. That's how I see it. So when I'm praying, I'm looking inside and I'm looking upwards on the inside, because if this is the front flesh face, then the infinite face is probably here. Ams, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? We are in a PhD class about the infinite consciousness, and you're appearing like a preschool who just wants to play with blocks. When I contemplate God, most times I'm not using a name. I'm just contemplating the infinite formless. I mean, there's two ways, from what I've seen, there's two ways to do it. You can choose a formed expression, or you can choose a formless expression. Each person has their own way. I choose a formless expression. Thanks for joining my discussion about God while I'm doing my skincare routine, which is honestly, I'll talk about whatever I want whenever I want. Ams, I think you need to go. I think there are two types of demons. There's a type of demons which are like, oh, these are just like physical reality things that are haunting you. You know, like when you killed that cockroach 5 years ago and you just can't stop thinking about it, it's torturing you. Those are one type of demons. The normal type of demons, which are just, thoughts. Then there's those types of entities that want a body. So I don't really think about those types of demons often, but I know many people. I watch a lot of horror movies, so I definitely see those types of demons that they want to break your spirit so that they can get access to your body. And once they have access to your body, they're now in physical reality. So anybody that's trying to break your spirit, please don't allow it, because if you are too broken as a being, you could just unconsciously allow your body to be inhabited by something, or you might mentally leave your body. They call it despondent. You're non-responsive. If you're done with life and you've mentally left your body, you might leave your body open for things. So whenever you notice that somebody or something is trying to break your spirit, just keep a watch out for that. You still stay there. Hi, Marlene. Okay. And I also put some on my head. I think humans are responsible for those things. I think humans are responsible. The people that want to make their suffering out to be somebody else's fault, you give away the responsibility for your life, but you also give away the power to change it. Like one of the main important points about knowing that your infinite spirit is the Spirit of God is that you will go throughout your life knowing that you are a true co-creator of reality and that you are responsible for making everything happen. So do it. Use that power and create the outcomes that you're looking for. If I were in that position, I'd be evaluating what about me is not working. And I think, especially with corporate jobs in this time, one of the greatest challenges right now is that you have AI applications. So the competition's higher. And the competition being higher means that less people are at the top of the list. So if you struggled with job applications before AI, you're going to struggle with job applications unless you start to learn how AI can help you to do those applications well. If you can't compete with AI, then you better work with it. And remember to meditate. Don't die in ignorance. Sometimes you only get shown a vision of the truth once or twice in your life. And even that vision is enough. So meditate day after day after day for 10, 20, 30 or 40 years and ask your higher self, God, to show you that, hey, show me that it's you. GP, if you're trolling, I'm gonna block you. So I'm gonna block you without any remorse, because when I am doing my live and when I'm sharing important things, I need people here that are on that level. I don't need chaotic people. I don't need volatile people. I don't need argumentative people. I don't need people that are trying to cause problems. I don't need people that are trying to trigger me. I don't need people that are trying to poke me. So I've kept you here for a long time because you appear to be engaging reasonably. But sometimes I just look at some things that you type and I just wonder, like, I wonder. But I won't be wondering for long. I'll be making a decision soon. Okay, that was my Sunday routine mixed in with a bunch of sermon there. But what I want you to take away from all of this is that the way to realize that your spirit is the Spirit of God and it's temporarily appearing as flesh is to meditate. That's the final thing I want to share. Your spirit is the Spirit of God, and as a child of God, you're like a fruit on the tree. You're a fruit on the tree, and the branches are still connected to you. The trunk is still connected to you. And so access the power that's been given to you, the power of creation, and create the life that you dream about. Part of accessing that power is, sometimes people are so obsessed with sin and suffering. And where does that come from? Your body has cravings. Your body is part of nature. It has cravings. So sometimes it's craving weird things. Do not shame yourself for your body craving things. But if you consciously are making bad decisions in your life, then you need to evaluate why you're applying your power to things that are hurting you. Why are you applying your power to things that are hurting you? So get rid of the idea of sinning. Sinning is a very judgmental idea. It came from way back when people believed that God was an angry parent. They didn't have an idea of what infinite consciousness could look like. All their minds could handle was angry parent. But if this being is connected, if this is the flesh version of something higher and formless, it's not at all judging you. It's you. It's looking at you and it's actually wondering, like, when will he see me? So close your eyes, look internally, and look internally for a long enough time until you see it. And then in the meantime, take courage to take action in alignment with the things that matter to you. Create the life that you want to build and harness your true power as a co-creator in reality. I made the roti yesterday. Y'all coming for the roti now? Didn't I say on the title of that video, Dinner Live? I'm letting go. Give me one more chance. I'm gonna do this on my... I think I'm gonna go get that KFC burger. Okay, this is my final thought. I meditate on Jesus sometimes. For those that, for those that think I don't. Anyways, I do meditate on Jesus sometimes. I also meditate. I meditate on Jesus sometimes. I meditate on Buddha sometimes. I meditate on Krishna sometimes. I meditate on Shiva sometimes. Sometimes I meditate on Rama. Because once you see that those beings started off as human and then they learned that the body is a temple and that they can pull the infinite consciousness into the temple, sometimes you want the strength of how Shiva is depicted, so you meditate on that. Sometimes you want the unconditional loving kindness of the Jesus, so you meditate on that. No, GP, don't see them as gods. See them as individuals that pulled the infinite God consciousness into their body. See it that way. Y'all looking for the roti roll which I ate yesterday. Cause I can't do this on my own. I'm letting go. Yeah, see them as what to become. What to become. I want to become like you. So all of them moving within us, or only one of them. Don't look at the body. Look at the inside. The insides were all the same. The spirit within them was all the same. It was the fullest that a human body can handle. I think there are stories. If your human body is not sufficiently prepared with purity of thought, word, and deed, fasting, all of those types of things, your nervous system will not be able to handle that type of power. It will fry the circuitry and you'll probably end up in like a schizophrenic state where you can't tell, are you in this realm or you're in 50 other realms? So to avoid all of that, then that means they're one thing. That's so interesting. Does it mean we are one being appearing as 8 billion bodies? When you look at Hindu ideology, you see that God is depicted having 50 faces, 20 arms, 300 legs. It helps you understand that the great Indian sages were showing us that there's one being inhabiting all the bodies. When can we see the view of the rooftop? I wasn't going to do a view of the rooftop. I actually don't know if that gate is open. I'm letting go. Give me one. GP, we're actually meant to be greeting each other. Hi, infinite self. Then you shake my hand. Hi, infinite self. Nice to meet me. Nice to meet me too. What does that mean? I'm looking at myself, but from a different perspective. Instead, we are conditioned into individualization, which is when the consciousness identifies itself with the thing that it's inhabiting. The consciousness now believes that it is the body. Okay, yeah, it's time for me to go. Interesting topic. Put it into practice. Let's not just talk about this, let's embody the characteristics. Um, Thanks, David. Yeah, I meditate on the. Remember, you must know the difference between form and essence. The essence is the same. It is the same entity inhabiting the different bodies throughout time. And even now, inhabiting our bodies, giving us life. But we don't have the full embodiment. So to go from here to the full embodiment, to the Christ level, the Krishna level, the Shiva level, the Jesus level, whatever, is a long time. It's a long time, and it's a long period. It's an arduous journey. It's considered a pilgrimage. Most times in your life, most people will not have the opportunity to go to a forest or a cave or this or that. You still have jobs, some of you have families, all of those things. So how do you get to the Christ level consciousness in your life? You take it step by step. But the way to start is meditation, because the thing to first overcome is that you are a mind. And you will not overcome that you are a mind if you keep believing that you are a mind and you keep believing I am thinking. When you meditate, you start to see that the thoughts are popping up in front of you, and that you are viewing them from really like behind. They call it the back of the mind. At the back of the mind, I know this, I see this, I hear this. That's showing you that you are truly situated here, and you are viewing your thoughts here. So it becomes a reality when you start meditating, that you first see that you're not thoughts. Then you see that you're not a body. Then you see you existed before a body and will exist after the body. Then you see that you are really infinite. You're never born and you never die. And that takes many decades. So I'm 6 years in, and 6 years in, I've seen so many wonderful things. I've learned so many wonderful things about the nature of existence, about the nature of my being, it makes you kind of appreciate. You get to a point where some of these teachings don't make sense, but then you get to a point where they do make sense, because now you can see the deeper spiritual meaning in some things. So when you start to embody these practices, you get to a space where you have more appreciation for that. Okay, I don't just have one book I can refer to. I can refer to 50 Buddhism texts or 20 Christianic texts, or maybe in Christianity I like Gnosticism better, so I can read that if I want to learn more about spiritual Jesus. Or I could learn from Sufis, because Sufis have written some poetry and there are some beautiful things expressed about God in that poetry. You get something beautiful out of all of them, and all of them now start to feed your journey. You stop aligning with one and you realize that this one said it better in this way, but this one spoke better about love. So if I want to learn about love, I'll learn it from there, and take something from each of them and put it into practice in your own life. I didn't say that. I said one of the ways that you can do that is by studying yourself as the living word. I think that the texts are a starting point, but knowing where they came from somebody inhabiting the God consciousness themselves and then using their hand to write. Remember, because it cannot express itself in physical reality if it doesn't have a body. And furthermore, you cannot get writings if you don't have a hand. So you need to be in the infinite consciousness state of mind when you are writing for you to even get a spiritual text in the first place. Give me one more chance, 'cause I can do this on my own. Okay, you're full of shit, clearly. Okay. Meditate on your infinite higher self, the great infinite entity, the God that's spoken about throughout time as it permeates all entities, bodies, and beings. Meditate on that as your higher self. And I wish you a wonderful Sunday. Check out my page, see if you're into my content, follow for more. And if you want to join me for lunch, dinner, food, cooking, and so on, I do so much of that. If you want to follow for more free spirit ideology, check out the content on my page. And if you are in alignment with the frequency of that, your spirit is the spirit of God, the great infinite consciousness that manifests as physical reality, permeates it and transcends it simultaneously, then this is the space for you. I know I'm about to leave. Take care, have a wonderful day. I'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.